Well, as a totally blind person, they first allowed me to have a mobility instructor from Independence for the Blind of Northwest Florida orient me to this hotel and its environs. And the hotel is a very, very difficult environment for a totally blind person to travel through because it's echoic and you've got large open spaces and things move around all the time. So I was able to do that. We made Gina and Julian and others attempted to make it possible for me to utilize community transportation to get here, but their rigid system oriented more towards providing transportation for those who are not vocationally oriented. So Innisfree has really stepped up to the plate, and they are taking the hit for the transportation necessary to get me to and from work, and sometimes my colleagues can give me rides and stuff like that. And that's a major thing because the cost of transportation would be more than half of my daily take-home, so I wouldn't be able to afford to work if it wasn't for that. We've also, Gina has made it possible for me to carve a niche for myself in terms of obviously, if I were on the front desk, we'd get terrible SALT scores because you'd have somebody saying, well, I was looking at him for a half an hour and he didn't even acknowledge my glance. So she has allowed me to take on tasks that other people find noisome, and in so doing, for instance, I do reports every morning and every afternoon that go out to an array of managers. And because I'm doing them electronically, we're saving trees, we're saving all the time that those managers would be utilizing babysitting the printer and waiting for the report to generate. So it's a real symbiotic thing that we're developing here. I've also been able to work with other Hilton employees around the country. There are 5 of us that we know of that are totally blind, and one or two partially sighted people, on developing a way that we can share what we're doing, the tools and techniques we're doing to make it possible for us to use OnCue, our reservation system, more effectively and overcome difficulties that rise when they change it and it becomes less accessible. And because of my background in adaptive computer-based technology for blind and visually impaired, it allows me to take a lead role in those efforts with OnCue University and our OnCue reservation software. So, and Gina is very open to allowing me to do things like last week or the week before. I spoke as part of the keynote address for the Boy Scout leaders, professional Boy Scout leaders in the southeastern region about scouting and how that has enabled me to be more effective as a blind person and be one of the 15% of employed blind people before the 2008 recession. Now it's less. So, and Gina also is cool with me answering questions from guests about how I do what I do and showing them what I do and how I do it so that they can perhaps integrate blind people into the fabric of their own businesses. And that's basically, it's the flex. Gina has allowed me to have flexibility and to carve my own little niche.